Okay, so we are going to discuss about the data analytics. Okay, so I'll just simply explain. So what is the data analytics, and then so what are the tools that we cover in this course, and what are the things that we are going to cover. So what are the business case studies we are going to cover. So everything I'll just give a small explanation about this. Okay, just be with me throughout this. Let me open my Excel and then share my screen with you. So. The first thing when it comes to the data analytics, so first you need to have an understanding about the data sets. Okay. So let me please share my screen with you, all of you. So I'm just sharing my screen. Just let me know whether you can see it or not. Okay. I hope you can see it, right?
Yes. Yes.
So So this is the data analytics course. So for any data analytics, first you need to have a understanding about the data sets. So when I say the data sets, so it can be from any kind of business, or it can be from any kind of domain. Like for example, like it can be a banking industry, it can be a retail industry. See, it can be a healthcare industry. Okay, it can be a insurance industry. So whenever we receive some data set, so first we need to understand, so what are the insights we can generate out of uh, the data. So that is the main rule of data analytics. Okay. See, for example, so let's take any kind of banking. So in the banking, like there will be different verticals. Like so, there is a accounts vertical, and then credit verticals, and risk management vertical. So there can be any kind of different kinds of verticals will be there, right? So credit risk analytics, and then the retail industry. Let's take any example. For example, let's like more or Big Bazaar or any kind of example. Let's take okay. So healthcare also. Just simply like I'm just mentioning the names that you know. Like for example, Apollo or so if there are the big companies like Novo Nordisk, Novartis. Okay. So just I'm just giving an example over here. So any kind of data set, any kind of raw data, once you receive it. So first we need to know what kind of insights we can generate out of the data. Okay. That is the primary rule of a data analytics. Not the, I don't say it's a rule, but it's something that we need to do in the data analytics world. Okay. So to do these analytics, actually, once we have the data sets in our place, okay, to do these analytics, we need certain tools actually. Okay, those tools are it can be starting with Excel actually. So Excel is the spreadsheet application software, like whatever that you are seeing in front of you. Okay, which contains lot of functions actually, which contains lot of arithmetic functions and logical functions, text functions. So which is similar across all the DBs and all the business visualization tools. Okay. So I'm like a bit curious to explain like these tools because all these tools say share same kind of functions actually. So when you if you take the arithmetic functions, which shares the same kind of approach to deliver in Excel or Power BI or in SQL. Okay. So whether you go to the Python, so in the Python, we have the different libraries over there, like NumPy, Pandas to do the data analysis, to do the data visualization. We have Seaborn, Matplotlib. So these kind of libraries we have actually. Okay. But the same thing can be done by using the Microsoft Excel and as well as like in the Power BI. Power BI is the tool, so where we have like lot of visualization possibilities actually. Okay. And then we are also teaching like the VBA here. So VBA is something called a Visual Basic for applications actually. And then like Python. So these are the combinations that we have in this course. Okay. So so coming to the Excel, it's a kind of tool, spreadsheet tool or spreadsheet software. So we can do a lot of conditional formatting. We can do a lot of data calculations. There is something called Power Query, so which is behind both Power BI and as well as uh, in Power Excel. So this Power Query shares like Excel and Power BI. So this is a kind of data transformation tool. So there we can do kind of a ETL, not exactly the ETL, but we can do little bit of data transformations and data cleansing. Majorly we can do with the Power Query. Okay, so Power Query will be in Excel and Power BI, both the tools actually. Okay. So Excel is something like, so it's majorly to perform uh, like calculations on the data, calculations and uh, dashboarding. Some kind of visualizations also we can perform by using the Excel actually. Okay, data visualization we can do. Okay, and so these are the major things that we can do by using the Excel. See, SQL is the, it's a language, so I can say it's one of the language where we speak with the databases. Okay, so we have the different kinds of databases, right? SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres. Okay, and then like there are the cloud database, Azure SQL. Okay, for example, let's say I have different kinds of databases: SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL. Okay, Postgres are like cloud databases. There are like a Snowflake. Any kind of data warehousing or cloud, Amazon Redshift and Azure. See, Azure, we have the different things like data lake, everything like we have different things actually. Okay, Azure SQL. See, all these clouds are in-house databases. All these things like will share the same language, SQL, structured query language. So this language is used to speak with the databases, right? All these databases. So this language is common across all the things actually, but few syntactical changes were there. That's all. But the core language doesn't change. Okay, that's the point you need to understand the importance of the SQL. So here in the SQL, by using the SQL, so we can create the tables. See, always the data stores in a formats of tables. Again, tables contains a columns. Okay, so this which stores the data in this format, table and column format, they store the data. Okay, so by using the SQL, so we can do like a lot of things. Like so, there is something called DDL, data definition language. That means creating the tables, creating the columns in the table. Okay, all these things we can do. So there is something called DML, data manipulation language. So you can update the records, you can delete the records. Okay, all these things can be by using the DML. And then here comes the most important DQL, data query language. Like most of the SQL statements over here starts with select over here. So there are so many concepts over here like joins, subqueries, CTs, common table expressions. So there are the many things over here. So we all discuss in this class actually. Okay. Next is coming to all these things like we have in SQL. So there is other things like DCL and TCL/IP commands over there in SQL, but don't bother about that. So since you are coming to the data analytics, like your job is mainly to speak with the database. Okay. So SQL is the language that we are going to use to speak with the databases. That is the one thing that we are going to cover over here, right? And then as well as coming to the Power BI. So Power BI, Microsoft Power BI is one of the most powerful tool in terms of data visualization. Okay, so this comes with a lot of concepts and then a lot of manipulation around the data, and then the data modeling comes out there. So we try to cover all the things like data modeling part, like what is the schemas available, okay, what is the star schema, what is the what are the fact tables and then dimension tables, what is snowflake schema. So the data modeling. So how in real time, for example, if you take any kind of example of Walmart, how their database is designed in a way with the star schema. Otherwise, like if you take an example of Amazon, how their tables got structured. So we have that kind of business case studies also. We'll discuss in the course. Okay. So what is the modeling, like how we arrange the tables, how we arrange the dimension tables, fact tables, like which schema we call it as. So all these things we are going to discuss. Then after, like, we have visualizations. So visualizations, many people confuse over here. What is visualization? What is data visualization? The simple thing is, like, whatever the data that we have with us, if you keep that information in a visual format, that's called the data visualization. In simple way, like, it's a storytelling of the data. Okay, guys, you are all following me, right?
Yes, sir.
Everyone. Okay, you are
Yes,
able
sir.
to. Am I being like too speed or slow? Just let me know. Okay, if you don't understand anywhere, just stop me there. Okay. Okay, so the visualizations are simple to understand for any kind of business users or stakeholders or clients actually. So when a client comes to me, for example, Amazon or Walmart comes to me and asks for some kind of data visualization stories, they wanted to know about their data. So we can easily generate by using the Power Query. So, but we need to know a few concepts like what is the data modeling? So, what are the visualizations? Like whether it's a pie chart or bar chart or column chart or histograms or there are the hundreds of data visualizations. The basic, like 10 to 15 visualizations were there. But see, we are going to represent this data with the visuals for the better understanding, for the easy understanding. So that is the data visualization. That's all the Power BI can do. To make this more impactful, or you need to know few things actually. There is the first thing is the data modeling in the Power BI. Another thing is, like, you need to know each and every visualization in Power BI. So when to use each visualization. Like, for example, there is a bar chart. So what kind of data suits for the bar chart? There is a pie chart. So what kind of data suits for the pie chart? Okay, so these things we need to know. Then after, like, there is something called DAX. DAX is something, data analysis expression language, which is similar to some kind of, like, I don't say the 100% matches with the Excel functions, but like close to, like, if you have a better understanding of the Excel functions, you can easily pick up the DAX functions. But the DAX, there is a context, like the filter context and then row context kind of things were there. So if I speak in depth right now, so you might not be able to get it. But sure, there is a language called DAX, data analysis expression. Please remember this. So which is very important in Power BI development. So whatever the dashboards we are going to create, whatever the reports that we are going to create in Power BI, so everything most of the times, like, we are using the DAX, okay, data analysis expressions. So we are going to make a dashboards, we are going to make a reports with the Power BI, and all these things. Uh, the core part of Power BI lies in the DAX actually. DAX and the data modeling and the visualizations. Okay. These three things, if you know these three things, you can do these dashboards and reports. Okay. Then after, like, once after the development of Power BI reports, we use Power BI service to host the reports. Okay. Power BI service. This is another component of Power BI. So we use this Power BI service. Okay. So this is the common cloud platform that we update or share the reports with the business users or stakeholders or clients. Okay. So Power BI service, like, there we have a concepts like, majorly we are going to cover, like, the security concept, the data governance part of the reports and dashboards, and refresh facilities of the dashboards, and all those things we do cover over there. Okay, so this is the one thing that we are going to cover. Okay, now, like, Power BI services, like, on mostly Microsoft Fabric tenant. So if so interested, like, I try to cover few concepts over there. Okay. Mm, but Fabric is too big, guys. Like, whatever you think, like, there is something called data pipelines. Everything is there, data ingestion. Okay, so there are so much to cover over there. But that's altogether, that's a different concept. Okay, okay. But so far, you are going to learn all these things in Power BI. Okay, these are the major Power BI components. And then as well as like Power BI, there is some concept called report builder. So by using that, we are going to make some kind of paginated reports. Okay, I try to cover that all in this course. Okay, so next is something called VBA. So here comes the thing, like VBA is something like Visual Basic for Application. See, Visual Basic for Application. So, which is the scripting language. Okay, scripting language, which is mostly related to the Excel, which is mostly related to the Excel. Okay, so in Excel reporting, so it's a VBA is something it's a kind of back-end scripting language for all the office applications like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook. Okay, so VBA most of the automation purpose we use actually. So any kind of repetitive task that we are performing in Excel or so we try to cover this subject as like based on your interest actually. So these are different tools I'm giving over here, different tools and then different things we are going to cover. I'm just mentioning over here, but based upon your interest, like we'll try to cover. Okay. Uh, so automation by using the Visual Basic for applications, what exactly we can do is automation. So what do you mean by automating? There are the different tools of automations in the market, right? But VBA is a simple scripting language. Okay. Uh, we can perform like any kind of report automations or any kind of repetitive task in Excel or any other office platform, we can do it easily. So if I go into the depth, so it is a bit difficult to understand at this point of time for you guys. But if you were able to focus on this, like you can easily get it done. Okay. So it's mostly like all the programming concepts will be there, like the loops, conditions, and file system objects, like connecting with the files, playing with the files, and connecting to the databases, getting the records from the table, and then inserting the records to the database back. Okay, all this kind of stuff we can do, and then we can create some kind of user interactive user forms. All the kind of stuff we can make out. Uh, we can make this with VBA. Okay, so that's it about the VBA. So far, so good, guys. Like, any doubts so far? Guys, just speak out here. Hello.
No doubts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So far, so good, or no?
Yeah. Good.
Hmm?
Good, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'm continuing. So
So,
I'll come to the Python last. At last, I'll come to the Python at last. Okay. So I'll explain about the Power Query. So Power Query is the tool which can do the some kind of data transformations. Okay, data transformations and or data cleansing part. Okay, this is the thing that it can do. Okay, so for example, we have received one unstructured data. See, structured data is different and unstructured data is different. Okay. Uh, Structured data is comes with the rows and columns having the proper data types. For example, I have received a data which contains a column called order date. Okay. So which has the uh, data type of the date. Okay. So which is properly aligned. But sometimes what happens is the same data I have received in a different format. Like the data is a order data order date column, but still, which doesn't has the date values. Okay, only few date values were there. Rest other cells have the different numbers or different kinds of things were there in the data. The data type is like it's a mixed data type. Like so, I just want to clean that. Okay, I need to make it as a order date column as a having only with the dates. Okay, with the proper data type and everything. So this Power Query helps us to do those transformations. Okay. So not only that, like Power Query can like perform the match queries. Like match queries are nothing but when we have a two tables of the data, we can combine them and then append queries or creating the conditional columns and There's a lot of other stuff like removing the null values, removing the unused columns from the data. Okay, there are the many things, and then there is something called a yum code. Okay, there is something called a yum code. Language we call it as a. So majorly we use it for the data transformations only. So if you want to transfer any kind of data like pivoting or unpivoting or any other thing, so we can achieve by using the M code. Okay. So this is something that we are going to learn with the Power Query. And uh, and one more thing in Power Query is like uh, it exists both in Excel and Power BI, both the tools. So we can connect to the any data sources. Data sources are nothing but databases or whatever I have mentioned over here. The data generally lies out there, or any kind of online or any kind of websites or okay. We can just connect to them, get the data, and then transform the data, load back to the if it's a Power BI, load back to the data model, or if it's a Excel, load back to the sheets. Okay, this is how it works actually. Okay, we majorly use Power Query for the transformation or data cleaning purpose. Okay, so that is the thing about the Power Query. And we also can create conditional columns. We can create custom columns. There are the different functions about there. Okay, we use each and everything out there. Okay, so we try to cover all the Power Query concept. Next comes the Python. Okay, Python is something, it's a programming language that you guys, everyone know, like being, you are coming from the technical background, so you guys might know about Python or you might studied in your academics also. So Python is one of the most happening programming language. We can do anything with the program Python. So we can create the UI with the Python, UI UX design with the Python, or we can do automations with the Python. So for everything, there are the libraries in Python, right? So, but the core OOPS concepts will be there in the Python. Okay, oh, the core OOPS concepts are always like the basic of the Python, like data types like uh, sets, sets or dictionaries. All these things we can discuss, and as well as the major libraries that are required in Python for the data analytics or data science. So data science is again like TensorFlow, all those libraries were required, but we are not going to discuss this over here. But you guys must need to know the libraries of Python. Few libraries are there, like Pandas and NumPy. For the data visualization, we are going to discuss few libraries like Seaborn or Matplotlib. Okay, so there are other libraries that we are going to discuss in the concept of Python. Okay, so this is the entire course outline, guys. Okay, what we are going to cover. Okay, there are the different trainers for each and every module. Okay, for example, I'll try to cover Excel, SQL, and then there is a guy called Veera who's going to cover Power BI, and VBA again will be covered by Mimi, and Python will be covered by some other guy like Venkat. So all these guys are well experienced, like close to 10 to 15 years of industry experience, and okay, so they're going to cover each and every module in depth with the assignments and then with the business case studies and then with the real-time projects. So they will help you with all these things. Okay. So this is the entire outline of the data analytics, guys. Okay. So now just let me know, do you have any doubts or do you have any like clarification needed on this or do you have any uh, I just want you to unmute yourself and then just talk about this.
So, are these Excel, SQL, and Python are together taught with the Power BI or separate times?
See, Whatever the things I told, everything is related itself actually. Since we are discussing about the only the data, so everything is related. Okay, but everything is again the separate thing, because few things we can do in Excel, we cannot do it in by using the Python, or because Python is the programming language, Excel is the more of a like it's a spreadsheet tool. Okay. Uh, so everything will be thought differently to you. Yeah. Anybody has anything?